CBDCs aren't just about control. They're about something quieter and far more sinister. What's that? Dependency. If you can make a population reliant on a system for basic life functions, you don't need batons. You just need buttons. We're told a digital euro is for convenience, faster payments, and the sovereignty of the European nation. Is that really true? But why roll it out if people are skeptical?
Also, the European Union put out a survey asking all European citizens what they think about the introduction of the CBDC. The responses were overwhelmingly negative.
Maybe polling the people was never a courtesy to the public, but rather a courtesy warning to the public. You better get positioned before we draw the invisible borders around you. I'm Oceans, this is Beyond Bitcoin. Stick around if you want to learn how to protect yourself from one of the most dangerous technologies headed our way. Let's dive in.
Many people are a little worried about what will happen to them with the digital euro. Can you encourage them? Why is the digital euro good for people like you and me?
A digital currency where it has been piloted, and there is only one which is clearly now launched in a very small country, but it is piloted on a fairly large scale in China, is of use and of service to all citizens. So it is not something that is good for the elite, or is good for the young, or is good for some versus others. If it is well done and if it is well implemented, it would be of service to all citizens.
Dependency is crushing to the human soul, dehumanizing at economic scale. When you must use the system to access basic needs, you will self-censor to keep that access. Now that's much softer than force, and it's far more durable. Just think about it. You have a way of literally controlling swaths of people at the point of their transactions. And that's why I use Bitcoin for all of my payment needs.
Bitcoin is now available near you. Call 1-800-BIT-COIN
That's
for details.
1-800-BITCOIN. It's not even an accurate amount of characters for the number Bitcoin. Actually, no. Bit, three numbers. Coin, 4 numbers. All right, works. Ministers say that the digital euro would cut reliance on all the big payment providers like Visa and MasterCard. That's the stated why. That's what they're telling people why they're doing it. I mean, they're pushing a digital euro for the good of the people, right? You are pushing the digital euro for the good of the people, right?
Well, if it works.
So they wouldn't be reliant on the big bad tech rails. Instead, it sounds like they want you on much more trustworthy rails. You know, the ones that they provide.
The Supreme Court has created a blacklist for so-called bad citizens, those whose ratings have dropped to 0. On it are companies, but also 23 million people to date. Among them is this journalist Liu Hu. He got a little too close to uncovering corruption among high-profile party members. After being sued for defamation by the subject of a story he'd written, he was blacklisted. He only realized when he tried to buy a train ticket and was told he was banned from traveling.
That tells me I'm still on the blacklist.
Punished because he's been branded untrustworthy by the state.
Once you're blacklisted, you can no longer get a bank loan, start a business, buy an apartment, or even send your children to a private school.
Liu Hu is among a tiny minority of people who have dared to criticize the system, which some are calling a digital dictatorship.
I worry, because I think many people like me will be deprived of individual freedoms, and all of us will live with restrictions of one kind or another.
This video illustrates that capital controls of this nature can extend far beyond your bank account. When your social credit score is intertwined with your ability to transact, the state suddenly has extremely powerful levers that dictate your everyday life. The messages fall in line or be locked out of the system. But European citizens saw this coming, right? They couldn't possibly want a tool that controls their everyday life like this, could they? Why would they move forward with a European CBDC if these are the kinds of outcomes?
We here in Europe, we live in a democracy, right? Well, think again. For instance, here in the Netherlands, even though the entire parliament voted against participating in the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, the minister Van Huffelen, this clown over here, went to the EU in Brussels and signed the agreement single-handedly, ignoring the will of both the parliament and the people. Why? Because she thinks it's important, and in her words, her opinion also counts. Also, the European Union put out a survey asking all European citizens what they think about the introduction of the CBDC. The responses were overwhelmingly negative. Everyone said, don't do it. So what do you think the EU did? Exactly, they ignored the will of the people. And in the fourth quarter of this year, the first version of the CBDC will be released. And then, in the second quarter of next year, the Dutch NLID wallet will be launched. And this is where all your money will exist. And it will be fully programmable. That means they can control what you spend your money on. For example, they could restrict you to buying only 2 clothing items per month. In the name of fighting climate change, of course. Or they could require you to spend your savings before a certain date, otherwise your saving would vanish, just to stimulate the economy. At that point, we have no financial freedom left. Even though nobody wanted this, the people didn't want it, and the parliament voted against it, it's still happening. Is this a democracy or not? Let me know in the comments what you think.
I mean, Europe is already undergoing a transformation in their social media policy, where a simple social media post can land you in jail.
We need to seize the phone at this current moment.
Yeah.
The phone needs to get seized from us, otherwise we will escalate this further. We'll have to escalate this further, which means your daughter will get arrested.
For what? Viewing a social media post?
Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand that?
So I'm actually being arrested?
You're going to be arrested, okay?
Right.
Take you up to the police station.
Right.
You, okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page.
Think of the power of a CBDC, where you wouldn't even have to arrest a citizen for something that they posted online. You can simply stop their ability to transact. You could restrict their transactions to a 15-minute proximity around them. That's a jail if I ever heard one, just like a 15-minute radius one. In that world, borders exist on a person-to-person basis. Bob might have the ability to transact anywhere he pleases any day of the week, but Alice, maybe she did something wrong. Maybe she could only transact on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, it's because she said something naughty on Facebook that we didn't like. For the stability of the economy, now hidden deep in the weeds of the ECB's website, among all of their long-winded PDFs that no one but ChatGPT will open up, is an account of a survey conducted of citizens' concerns over a digital euro. Now here's a list of some of the questions they asked on that survey. I want to be able to use it throughout the euro area. I want my payments to remain a private matter. I want to be able to use it with my smartphone and at payment terminals. Notice how none of them ask, I want my digital payments to be integrated with a social credit score. I want limits on how much I can transact in a day. I want to limit my ability to transact based on the government's definition of hate speech. In the ECB's own consultation, the number one demand was privacy, 43%. People aren't asking for new levers, they're asking for less. What the people are asking the most for is privacy, and I think the ECB will deliver on that promise. But how important is privacy when you can control entire populations? It doesn't really matter who or what said what, or if you can prove it in a court of law. All they have to do is be able to shut off your bank account because you did something. A camera caught you doing something because you said something online that they didn't like. This can all be solved algorithmically. They don't even have to dive into your privacy. It doesn't really matter to them if it's private or not. The digital euro isn't even about privacy. It's about issuing a checkpoint at every single transaction in your life.
Today, I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Privacy is the least of their concerns. But man, if you say something wrong or do something they don't like, you can get shut out of their system automatically. And here's another ACE attribute of the digital euro, holding limits. The ECB, the European Central Bank, speeches and research openly contemplate per-person caps. This is to prevent deposit flight. That's a permanent policy lever over how much central bank money the public can hold. If someone else is setting the maximum on how much you are allowed to save in the system, that's not convenience, that's a ceiling. Now, they're also pushing the narrative that the digital euro would not be programmable money, yet it could facilitate automatic payments. And the system includes calibrated tools like caps to manage liquidity and behavior. Policy can steer outcomes even without tagging each transaction with conditions. So it says here, the ECB has made the following design choices to minimize any potential risks the digital euro may pose to the financial system. Users would only be able to hold a limited amount of digital euro in their account. This would ensure that the digital euro would be a safe store of value similar to cash, thereby preserving the stability of our financial system and preventing outflows of bank deposits, even in times of crisis. Now that's a jail cell if I've ever heard one. So here's a question. Do you have the gear you'll need if you are ever locked out of the system? Sat123.com has put together a full lineup of tools: satellite phones, portable hotspots, power kits, Faraday bags that keep you online and communicating when everything else goes dark. And if you go to sat123.com right now and you put the promo code SIMPLY, you'll get 15% off your purchase. Keep your sovereignty, protect yourself from outages, sat123.com. Joachim Nagel, what is this? Joachim Nagel from the BIS says that the digital euro will be unifying and trustworthy. And who is Joachim Nagel? Only the president of the Bundesbank since 2022 and a European central banker. This whole process is not about hunting down Hans in Hamburg for hoarding Hefeweizen.
This is my precious Hefeweizen.
It's about population-level throttles. Set holding caps to throttle flights to safety. Enforcing cash ceilings means fewer off-ramps. At the end of the day, they don't have to freeze your assets. They can just reshape the pool that you're allowed to swim in. And all of this is why owning money that you control matters. Bitcoin is borderless, peer-to-peer, censorship-resistant. It's a bare asset. There's no third party setting holding caps on how much Bitcoin you have. In a world architected for dependency, Bitcoin is a way out. And why would the European Union want their citizens to be dependent on them? Well, if they're dependent on them, they become slaves. If you can force my transactions, where I can transact, when I can transact, how I can transact, I'm essentially your slave. I will censor my own actions just to stay in that system. Now, if you want to be part of this future of money and leave this crumbling system behind, you need to check out Sazmining.com. Sazmining.com is helping build the infrastructure for Bitcoin's next chapter. They offer hosted Bitcoin mining where you own the rig and you collect the sats. And they take care of all the technicals and the energy requirements with clean, renewable energy sources. Now, if you go to Sazmining.com right now and you put the promo code in SIMPLY, you'll get $100 off your first rig. Book a call with one of their expert team members today and start mining your way out of this junky system. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you like what you see and you want to see more, you can hit that like button below, or you can click that subscribe button to the Simply Bitcoin channel. We're putting out more content like this every single day of the week. Also, do not forget to hit that notification bell. I'm Oceans. This is Beyond Bitcoin. Until next time.